Welcome to the Inner Chief Podcast, episode 359.
I am your host, Greg Layton, founder of Chiefmaker and the Council of Chiefs. I believe there is a great chief in all of us, and that through listening to the stories, strategies, and techniques of great CEOs and gurus, each of you can find and leave your own legacy through your work and life. The Inner Chief Podcast is where you will learn how to think and make moves like a CEO, like a true chief. For over a decade, I've helped CEOs and senior executives around the world boldly lead change, inspire their people, and leave a legacy. On the Inner Chief Podcast, I bring these stories to life with deep diving CEO interviews, interspersed with minisodes covering key leadership challenges, so you will find your own path to greatness as an executive.
G'day, Chief. Welcome to episode 359 of the Inner Chief Podcast. And today we continue our three-part series on how to give feedback and embed it in your team culture, with our big one today is embedding it in the team's culture, that last part of our series. We started out by talking about how do you prepare to deliver like a coach, then how to deliver like a true chief with 6 methods. That's in episode 357 and 358. And Chief, as I've mentioned in the other 2 episodes, please go and download this resource. It's there for you. It's free online, chiefmaker.com/feedback. It's got all the details from all 3 episodes, some extra scripts, a few templates. Please get that and use it as much as you like. As I mentioned, Chief, this is part 3. So today we want to talk all about how to foster a culture of feedback across your team. And there's 3 big things I really want to talk to you about today. The first is you personally have to be supremely easy to give feedback to. And there's a few things I want you to consider here. First is ask questions from your team about how you can be better. But as I said in one of the delivery methods, in episode 358, if you can focus this in on one small aspect of your performance, people find it much easier to give feedback to you. For instance, yesterday I was catching up with a graduate of the mini MBA. I had a coffee with her and I said to her, hey, what is one thing we could do to make it 1% better? She was super comfortable giving me that feedback, right? If I had said, what's anything we can do to be better? It's too vague, it's unspecific, a bit harder. She might be a bit worried I might take it the wrong way. So ask specific questions. If I could do one thing better in this, what would it be? Hey, in that meeting that we were just in, would you give me a rating out of 5 on my ability to influence? And just one thing I could have done better. What do you think? You're asking there for their advice, right? Their counsel. What would it take for you to give me a 5-star rating as a leader? Or as a sales professional, or as a finance professional? Now, that's the bit where it makes it easy for the information to come to you, the feedback to come to you, right? The second part about that, this is so important, is when the feedback comes, you take it lightly, easily. It's like water off a duck's back, Chief, right? Someone says to you, hey, I think maybe the level of influence in that meeting was maybe about a 3. Maybe we just went a bit fast at the beginning and we could have let them speak more. You go, hey, yep, you're probably right. Thanks for that. I can definitely fix that. Easy. Right? You're demonstrating how to receive feedback. Don't bring the emotion. Just store up, make a change, bottle it, whatever you've got to do. Okay? Now, the other way to do that, to be supremely easy to give feedback to, is to share stories about other times you've been given feedback to get better. So you're normalizing, saying, hey, I've been given feedback before. It really helped me, right? Like my story in episode 357 about how Chad gave me some heavy feedback. And I can give you lots of feedback, lots of stories about other times people have given me feedback to help me be better. right? For example, I remember sending out an email to one of the CEO that put on some of their people in the mini MBA, and I said to them, hey, it was on a phone call. I said, hey, Andre, one thing I can do to make this program better for you as a chief, right? And he said, it would be great to get more updates throughout the program as to what they're working on. And I was like, that's really easy. I already send out emails to the graduates, to the participants every week. I can summarize that and send it on to him as well. Fantastic bit of feedback, super easy. He got that the next day and he was happy. So, right, he knows I'm easy to give feedback to. He'll give it again, right? So be open also about your own performance ratings, right? If you get an annual performance review and you get a rating of 3.5, tell your team. Say, guys, this is my feedback. This is where I'm up to. We've got to work harder, or we've got to be better, or I can be better like this, okay? Sit down with a member of your team and say, hey, here's what I think my performance is. What do you think? Would you be higher? Would you be lower? What do you think? It's just about making this really easy to give feedback to. Don't be difficult to give feedback to, because people will stop giving it completely and you'll have no idea about your true performance and reputation. Okay? The next one is create a process for your team to give feedback to each other. Right? So that might be pair people up, right? In a team meeting and say, hey, here's a couple of questions I want you to answer. You say to your peer, and we'd go around the room, hey, what's one thing I appreciate about you? And one thing I need from you in order to achieve the vision. It's like something I appreciate about you and something that is like a request to help around performance. It's a little bit easier to deliver, right? Or what's one thing I can do to help you in your role? There's a bit of feedback, right? So when you create that process where it's easy to give feedback, particularly on small items, really simple stuff, it just starts to create this flow of communication feedback across your team, and that really fosters that culture. The next is create a learning culture. So, Chief, you've got to ask yourself right now, think about your whole team and say to yourself, what is their speed of learning right now? Are they, as a group, are they learning new things? As individuals, do they talk about podcasts? Are they talk about books? Do they talk about any other programs they're on right now? If everyone has stopped learning, I absolutely guarantee you feedback will be null and void. And so one way to do that is to start saying, hey, this week, hey, why don't we all listen to this podcast? And that might not even be about work. It might be about parenting, right? Might be something that your team, it's hot for them right now. Might be about sales skills. It could be about IT. It could be about AI. It could be about the latest industrial relations changes. Whatever it is, hey, we're going to listen to this week, and then we're going to talk about how it might impact us later. The reason you do this, Chief, is almost neurological. We know through the work of Norman Doidge around brain plasticity that our brains can change. The neural pathways can shift. And the way they do that is by learning and evolving. So when you're doing things like even simply watch a podcast, listen to a podcast or watch a video on something, you are shifting their brain. They're getting their brain ready into more of a growth mindset, into one that is evolving and rewiring. And when you rewire in one part, very often generalizes to another. So when you get a team that's stuck or an individual that's stuck, you actually start to create this process where they're learning again, and it is amazing how things change. In the middle of these three, Chief, in the middle of be supremely easy to give feedback to, create a process for your team to give feedback to each other, and create a learning culture. The middle piece, Chief, is always trust. Remember, if you don't have trust or they don't have trust with each other, feedback is not heard. So tell stories about what's going on in your life away from work, right? Listen to your favorite music together. Go and cook for each other. Get an Airbnb and go away for a night together as a group. Cook for each other. Tell stories about the best moment of your life, the hardest moment of your life, the moment you were most proud, something nobody knows about you. When you get to this place where there's trust that's built up, it is literally the glue. That's why it's in the middle. Without that, we can't really ever have a learning culture in our team. So, Chief, that brings us to the end of our 3-part series on giving and receiving feedback and creating a culture in your team. Remember, the downloadable PDF is chiefmaker.com/feedback. There's a bunch of downloads, there's a bunch of processes and templates and scripts in there, and all the information is there for you. Chief, I hope this helps you build your ability to give feedback and foster a culture across your team. As always, Chief, remember to stay epic. Chief, all the resources can be found at chiefmaker.com/359, or just check it out on YouTube. Go to chiefmaker.com/YouTube. Chief, do you want to know how to give and receive feedback like an elite sporting coach? I've bridged the gap between elite sport and business now for about 15 years, and I've been taking some of those lessons from sport into business. We've turned that into a really cool downloadable PDF, and there's also some accompanying episodes in the podcast. Just go to chiefmaker.com/feedback. There's a really awesome PDF. It's got templates, it's got scripts, process, things to consider about how to give feedback, prepare for feedback, and foster a culture in your team. chiefmaker.com/feedback. And if you would like to stay in touch and hear all about some of the best resources you can find anywhere in the world to improve your performance at work, go to chiefmaker.com/subscribe. Now, Chief, if you're yet to rate the episode and subscribe, I hope you'll do so soon. It helps others see the magnificent value that the chiefs and gurus bring to their life and career. So make sure you hit subscribe on your podcast app now, give it a 5-star rating if you think it's worthy, and leave a short review about your favourite episode. Righto, Chiefs, as always, remember to stay epic.